Doopy doopy doo, boo 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 boo. I'm distracted. Okay. Hello! It's good to see you guys again. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what happens when we lose our voices. Why does being sick make our voices sound different? And what is actually going on inside our larynx and with our vocal folds when we are unable to talk or unable to sing or when it's just more difficult. And so first I want to remind you what healthy vocal folds look like. So this is a picture of healthy vocal folds. You can see that they are slick and smooth, that they are even and symmetrical, and that when they close completely to make that phonation that we are used to hearing. That is how sound is made. So when we phonate, phonation means that we are making sound with our voices, so speaking or singing. So when we phonate, air travels from our lungs up through our trachea, and then our vocal folds are coming together and air passes through them, creating vibrations. And so we can create different pitches by having our vocal folds be pulled tighter. They pull tighter and get thinner for higher notes, and then they are shorter and thicker for our lower notes. When we are looking at these images of vocal folds, it looks like they're vertical, but they actually lie horizontally in your throat. The reason that they look that way is because the camera is coming either through the nose or through the mouth. There are two different kinds of scopes, but it's looking down. It's gonna look like it's vertical, but it's actually laying horizontally in your throat. Just like with any part of your body, there are a number of things that can go wrong with our vocal cords to either damage them or hurt them or cause them to function abnormally. I'm going to focus on 3 of them because they're more common. So the first thing that we're going to focus on is called vocal nodules or vocal nodes. You may have heard of these before. It's really common for singers to get vocal nodes, even professional singers who are singing correctly. Nodes are caused by overuse or misuse. So if your voice is fatigued and you continue to sing, then you're at risk for developing vocal nodes. Basically what they are is calluses. Nodes always come in pairs of 2. So as you can see here, there is 1 node on either side and they are lined up with each other. That comes from the vocal folds slapping together repeatedly. It creates friction. The issue with vocal nodes, in addition to being painful and irritating, they do not allow the voice to create phonation in the same way because they're not allowing the vocal folds to close entirely. Because of that little bump there, either you have to work extra hard to get them, or if they get bigger and bigger and bigger, then you just can't close your vocal folds entirely, and so your phonation is going to be totally different. You're going to get a really whispery tone. Treatment for vocal nodes kind of ranges depending on the severity of the nodes. One option is surgery, so the surgeon will go in and literally remove both of the nodes. That always needs to be followed by vocal therapy. That is totally different than voice lessons. What it is teaching you how to phonate properly. And I've never had to do vocal therapy, so I don't entirely know what it consists of. The other thing, especially if it's not too severe, if your vocal nodes are not very severe, you're going to be told to do vocal rest. This means no singing, no speaking, no humming for a set number of hours per day for a certain length of time. This allows the vocal folds to heal. Another issue that can happen with vocal folds is called a vocal cord polyp. The difference between a polyp and a node is that polyps typically only come on one side and they're a little bit bigger. They're more like a blister than a callus. These can also be caused from misuse, but they're more common with like a one-time misuse. So maybe you scream wrong at a sporting event, or you are outside and you shout. Polyps are more associated with one-time misuse versus nodes, which take a longer time to build up and are misuse over a long period of time. Vocal cord polyps also can be caused from smoking or drinking alcohol or misusing any kind of substances that might interfere with your vocal mechanism. Treatment for it is similar to nodes. Most Most polyps do need to be removed. Again, this mass in your vocal folds is going to prevent your vocal folds from closing entirely. So that's going to make phonation really, really challenging, because you have to remember that when they close entirely, that's when the air is able to pass through them and create those vibrations. So the bigger the gap is, the harder it's going to be for your vocal folds to phonate, and your body is going to have to try to compensate for that, which is going to involve tension and ultimately is not going to be very good for your voice. The third thing that I'm going to talk about is one that you may or may not have experienced already. I have had it 2 or 3 times in my life, I think, and it's called laryngitis. So anytime you see an itis at the end of a diagnosis, then it's going to involve inflammation. So laryngitis literally just means that your larynx is inflamed. And inflammation just means that it is larger than it's supposed to be. So you can see here in this picture that unlike regular healthy vocal folds, these vocal folds are a little bit rounder. They are less smooth. Laryngitis can be painful. And again, the problem is then that those vocal folds are not going to be able to close. So most of the time with laryngitis, no matter how hard you try, you cannot create any kind of a phonation. All you can do is whisper. So when we whisper like this, our vocal folds are actually not fully together. So that's basically what you're going to end up with. Usually it's caused by some sort of an illness. It will usually go away on its own. There is something called chronic laryngitis that is associated with usually with some sort of a trauma, like an accident or something that happened. But like in my case, I've had laryngitis 2 or 3 times. It is maybe a week or 2 where I have trouble talking, and then the inflammation eventually does go down. My voice returns to normal because my vocal folds are their original shape. So anytime you get like a sore throat, or you lose your voice, or you have a cold and your voice gets a little bit deeper, it's because these changes are happening to your vocal folds. And so anytime that your vocal folds have some sort of an irritation that is outside of the range of what your normal vocal folds look like when they're healthy, that's going to affect how you sound. Hopefully that gives you a better idea of 1, what's physically happening when you lose your voice, and 2, just how the vocal fold function. And you can see that it does not take a lot. Like if you look at vocal nodes, they're usually pretty small and can have a really traumatic and serious impact on your voice. This is why I keep on saying that your vocal folds are so delicate, because it doesn't take a lot for them to change how your voice sounds. So please continue to take care of your voices. Thanks for listening, you guys. Please ask me your questions and I will answer them on Thursday in our Zoom. I really like to hear your questions and they help me decide what I'm going to do for my next video. So keep them coming. Enjoy the sunshine. It looks like this week is going to be a good week, so enjoy that. Otherwise, I will see you all a little bit later. Thanks.